Yeah. Okay.
That's it. Brilliant.
Okay, wait, just a minute.
Yeah, okay.
It's, yeah, let's, okay. So, everything is so technical, but we are very pleased to have you here tonight. Thank you, Anatoly, for being here. We met some times ago. It's not so far away, but it seems a world away now. And we are with some of the students. There's one student here and two colleagues. We were in Kiev a few years ago when we met.
I remember.
When you already explained us what you were doing there. But there's new students from new generations, so they will be very happy to hear you and to learn more about what you're doing and what you're experiencing right now, as we are very concerned about what is happening in Ukraine right now. Just a few words to introduce you, and then I will leave you the floor just for you to say whatever you want to say, and then we will have a chat together. So you are the head, the director of the Ukrainian Center for the Holocaust Study in Ukraine. You are a historian. You graduated from the Pedagogical University in Kiev a few years ago, and you had a PhD degree on the Nazi genocide of the Jews in Ukraine. And then in 2002, you founded with colleagues the BAT Center you're heading now. And the aim of that center is to learn more about the Holocaust in Ukraine and to get the knowledge about what happened more widespread in the country. So you have a research task and a pedagogical and pedagogical aspect of your work too. So you are a kind of very important person in Ukraine. You were and you are, and we are very happy to hear you. And I think that's all for me. And I leave you the floor, and feel free to say what you want. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Francis. Thank you for invitation. For me, it's proud. For me, it's a big honor to be here together with you. Thank you, Francis, for the introduction. Introduce me. It's absolutely correct. Yeah, you're right, 100%. You told that I finished pedagogical university some years ago. Yeah, I finished 30 years ago, or 31 years ago. Yes, last 25 years or last almost 30 years, I research history Jews in 20th century in Ukraine, Holocaust history, and really I represent, it's a non-government research educational center in Kyiv, Ukrainian Center for Holocaust Studies. Ukrainian historians and scholars 20 years ago, we founded this center in cooperation with Academy of Science of Ukraine, Institute Political and Ethnic Studies by Kuros Institute. We close cooperation with university, with Academy of Science of Ukraine. And by the way, exactly in March 2002, 20 years ago, we founded our institution. And we plan organize big pedagogical conference, invite our alumni, teachers and scholars who participate last 20 years in our projects. But instead, Russian attacked my country. And now I don't know I don't want to speak about our activities. Now I can speak only about war. After 24 February, already, you know, in Ukraine, every day people mark what is day today. It's a 42 day after Russian aggression against my country. Russian attacked, you know, Kyiv is my home city. Okay, what Francois suggests. Okay, I will tell a few words, and I very want. I'm wait your questions, your responses, please. But you know, it's the 24th February in Kiev. It was a Russian attack, and bombs, particularly 2-3 kilometers from my home, my house. I not left Kiev. Me and my family, we remain here. It's my home city. It's my lovely city. It's my country. We are not invited to Russia. It's Russia attacked, invade to my country. We are defending, you know. We are fighting for freedom last month, more already. It's a terrible story. Today, it's Putin regime and Russian troops. It's a very danger to not only to Ukraine, for democratic world, for human rights. But anyway, you can imagine what in my country now, Ukrainian army and Ukrainian people together. It's a Putin big mistake. Putin thought that Ukrainians will meet him. We are not meet him. We met him with weapon. We defend our country, our freedom, our life. And in Kiev, it's bombed in 24 February. Yes, it's a typical. It's a September 1941 during World War II. German SS and Wehrmacht, Germans bombed Kiev 80 years ago, 81 years ago. Yeah. And now, months ago or more already, Russians bombed Kiev. Really, Putin regime hate us, hate Ukrainians, hate Ukraine, hate our independence, our freedom, our wish go to European values, European Union. And it's a really fight for future. I don't know. And you know, perhaps this is Putin aggression start not 24 February this year. Putin aggression against Ukraine 8 years ago. 8 years ago, Russia Federation annexed and occupied part of Ukrainian territory, particularly Crimea Peninsula and east part of my country. But last month, it's a really terrible invasion, terrible attack every day. You know, first 3 weeks, me and my wife and mother of my wife, old lady, more 80 years old, we were in shelter. During one day, at least 5 or 7 times danger sounds, you know, how do you say, sirens and bombs, and more hundred houses destroyed in Kyiv. But if compare this Kharkiv, you know, Kharkiv, it's a Kharkiv University, very famous. Kharkiv, it's a east part of Ukraine. It's a northeast of Ukraine. Very, if we discuss about megapolis in my country, Lviv in west, Kyiv, Kharkiv, it's a very famous city, as you know. It's a, how do you say, it's a Paris, Lyon, Marseille, or whatever. Kharkiv is more 2 million people. In Kyiv, approximately 5 million people. In Ukraine, in general population 40 million, more 40 million. Now, you know, almost 10 million people lost houses, refugees, 4 million people, Ukrainian citizens outside Ukraine, and approximately 6 million inside Ukraine, but they left from them houses and transferred to west part of Ukraine. And a lot Ukrainians invite Poland. Poland today is really our big, nice friends and partners. Poland invite Ukrainians refugees, more 2 million. But it's a tragedy for. And if we discuss, you know, if we discuss about my colleagues, historians, scholars, in Kharkiv, Chernihiv, it's, you know, north and east Ukraine, first few weeks bombed, Russian bombed, and destroyed some houses. My concrete colleagues in Kharkiv University, they lost, them houses destroyed and they evacuated to Lviv. In Kyiv, danger, in Kyiv front line, still today. But in Kharkiv, in Chernigiv, more danger. In Mariupol, it's a tragedy. Some people told, some of my colleagues told, must be Nuremberg trial against Putin, as against Nazi, 75 years ago or more. And if will be trial, international court, international trial against Russia's crimes, against Putin crimes, some people told this is trial, Nuremberg trial, must be in Kharkiv or in Mariupol. What I told, in my city, in Kyiv, destroyed 100 houses. In Kharkiv, destroyed more 1,000 houses, more 1,000. In Mariupol, 80% of this city destroyed. My colleague teachers from Mariupol, you know what happened 24 February? Our center stopped our educational activities. We stopped our research activities. Last 40 days, me and my colleagues every morning called to our teachers, to our scholars who cooperate with our center before war, before Russian attack. And we call and one question, how are you today? You survived here? People from Kharkiv told me we survived, but we don't know what will in next hour. You can imagine, now we discussion not about World War II. We discussion about 2 days nowadays in my country, in Europe, not in South Africa, not in Asia, not in North America. We're discussing about war inside Europe. 2 hours flight, airplane, 2 hours from Kyiv to Paris. 2 hours, 20 minutes from Kyiv to Paris. You can imagine, it's not far. But what we organize our activities, very difficult. Now I hold contact with my staff only online. We cannot visit the office, it's danger. Metro in Kyiv not work normal. In Kyiv now, what I told, picture Kyiv September 1941 and picture Kyiv March 2022, very similar. These weapons, these soldiers, every step, these blocks defending, some defending things in road, by car forbidden, use car. It's civilians forbidden now, only war cars, only special times for civilians. And every day we have special time from 8 p.m. till 6 or 7 a.m. People, civilians, forbidden outside from them houses to street. You understand? It's a war situation. What I teach to students last 25 years about life under occupation, about evacuation, about war, about relationship between people during war, about Jewish tragedy. Now, in my city, in my country now, part of people evacuated, part of people under Russian occupation. It's now, very often last weeks, Ukrainian intellectuals, people start compare Nazi regime and Putin regime. And we discussed with our teacher via online, with our teachers, how we will teach Holocaust history after war. If we will survive, I don't know. First of all, we need win. We will win. We will survive, and we will think about how teach, how research Holocaust history. And what I know already exactly, Holocaust education after Russian aggression in Ukraine will change. We will every time compare this current situation. Hitler hate ideological racial, ideological against Jews. Putin today, Putin it's a lie from morning till evening. Anti-Ukrainian propaganda is terrible. It's similar to this anti-Jewish propaganda. Jewish place today it's a Ukrainian. Of course, we need discussion. But okay. What I want to tell. Let me 2-3 hours. Oh, sorry, 2-3 minutes. Let me 2-3 minutes. I will finish, and I wait in your response, your question. In general, we now very difficult continue our activities, as you understood already. We important contact with teachers, the scholars, and we invite different institutions, Polish institution, German, Americans, little bit French institution, particularly Memorial de la Shoah. We invite our abroad partners, our center, you can imagine. 20 years, our big activities. We publish books, textbooks, we organize seminars, conference every year. It's not my job, it's my life. I love my job. I love my life. And of course, we have a lot of partners abroad. And now we ask abroad partners help to Ukrainian teachers and scholars who under occupation, who lost houses, who refugees, who in Kharkiv, in Chernigiv, in Mariupol, in Sumy, Akhtirka, in Kherson. And we collect some money and send to people. For example, Professor Elena Ivanova, Kharkiv Karazin University. She's 70 years old. She was in shelter during first week war. And she, in her dome, in her house, bombed, destroyed. And in 1 minute, very intellectual, psychological, and philosophical, and her special subject, memory studies, Professor Elena Ivanova from Kharkiv University, during 1 minute, she lost her house. She lost everything. And now she evacuated to Riga, refugee, Latvia, and we collect money and send to her. I can give a lot examples. One of our teacher in Mariupol, he stopped, we call to him every day. Last testimonies from him, his name Vladislav Rublenko. Last testimonies from him was 2nd March. In 2nd March, months ago or more, in 2nd March, he told, what he told is terrible. What I try to explain now. One of project of our center, already a lot years, one of educational project of my institution, it's a teachers group to Yad Vashem, to Jerusalem. And you can imagine our center preparation, more 1,000 Ukrainian teachers, and sent to Yad Vashem, teacher training seminars. After these teachers teach Holocaust as a part of World War II history in Ukraine. It's very good activities, as you can imagine. But last 2 years it's a COVID, it's a Corona, and Yad Vashem, Jerusalem, not can invite people, and instead Jerusalem, we suggest our Israel and Polish colleagues organize seminar in Auschwitz Educational Center in Poland, in Krakow, and we collect teachers group, 25 people as usual, 25 persons from different part of Ukraine as usual. I love, we have contact in all Ukraine. And we collect group, and this group must go to Auschwitz, to Poland in middle March. with preparation last 6 months, with preparation with group, special seminar, discussion, materials, documents, online discussion. And of course, we cancel seminar in Poland. Mr. Rublenko from Mariupol was one of member of this group, teachers group. You understand, yeah? And he last his call, he told to our colleagues what he told 2nd March. He told maybe it's his words. Attention, please. He told maybe I already not go to Auschwitz. I already cannot visit to Auschwitz. Auschwitz already here in Mariupol. He told 2nd March. 2 days ago, he called me. He survived. He was in prisoner under Russians near in Donetsk Oblast. Now he and his friends arrived to Ukrainian part of Donetsk Oblast. 2 days ago, he called me. I was happy, but again stopped. I don't know that. You know, you can understand. I collect last month a lot of history. It's already testimonies from this war. It's not testimonies World War II. It's a testimonies Russian war against Ukraine. Okay, it's a challenge. How teach, how work after war. But first of all, we will win. Now we are fighting for freedom. Every day we have different news from frontline. But what important, for me, it's, you know, Ukrainian society help Ukrainian army. Every people who can, he or she help every day. It's really unique now. Even people after Soviet generation, after destroyed Soviet Union, you know, generation of my son, people 25 years old, 30 years old, younger. For these people, Ukraine is our land, motherland, it's our country. For example, during Soviet Ukraine, you know, I am a bit older, I am 54. According to Jewish tradition, it's nothing. According Jewish tradition, till 120. I'm optimist, I hope. But I'm already 54. Of course, I very good remember and I research Soviet time, Francois, Professor Shapoval, very big friend of Francois, and a lot of Ukrainian scholars. But what happened? Generation after 91, they have not nostalgia about Soviet. It's a new generation. It's a modern Ukrainian youth, Ukrainian people. They won't be in free Europe. They love Ukraine. They defend now Ukraine. What important? You can imagine age of Ukrainian soldiers. You can imagine, as usual, as during World War I or World War II, it's always, as you know, young people. It's a people 20, 22, 25, 30. It's a people, young people. Of course, a lot people, the middle generation, even old people defend now Ukraine. But it's true, more it's a younger generation. It's after collapse Soviet Union. And what important, last sentence, what important, Mr. Putin, he don't interest change Ukraine. He won't kill Ukrainians. He won't destroy Ukraine totally. He hate our independence. He won't come back to concentration camp. You know, Anatoly Kuznetsov, very famous writer who wrote about Babin Yar, Holocaust Memorial Site in Kyiv. Anatoly Kuznetsov escaped from Soviet Union 50 years ago, 1969. And he gave interview in CBS company in London. He told, I escaped from concentration camp. So Soviet Union, this is concentration camp. Security service, KGB in Soviet Union, this is Gestapo. It's told Anatoly Kuznetsov 52 years ago. And still, modern Russia is a concentration camp. It's absolutely totalitarian. It's not authoritarian. I think it's totalitarian society. It's after the dictatorship. They hate our independence. They hate us. They hate Ukrainian culture. We are fighting for freedom, what I told already. And I think it's important. Ukrainian people don't want to come back to concentration camp. This blood, these victims, we are living Soviet territory. Russian Federation, it's a Soviet territory. It's a terrible thing. Ukraine won't be free. This is extremely important. Okay, thank you for your attention. For me it's a challenge. I cannot be briefly. I won't speak at least a lot, but now situation impossible to imagine, really. Okay, I will be thanks. Please, I open floor discussion, questions, replies, please.
Thank you. I'm sure there will be a lot of questions, so please, who wants to ask first? Well, maybe I ask the first question. Inside Vladimir Putin's rhetoric and discourses, he stressed a lot what he calls the denazification of Ukraine. I would like to know, well, I think I know, but I would like you to say what you think about this idea, and especially about the way of far-right extremism in Ukraine, and what can you tell us about this?
Okay. Thank you, Francois. It's a good, thank you for your questions. Good question. It's one of ideology of Putin anti-Ukrainian propaganda. Last 8 years, he preparation this invasion, this attack Ukraine. I think more. His hate Ukraine, it's at least from last century. His main goal, come back Ukraine to control Russia. But I feel now, he already not come back Ukraine control Russia. He won't destroy total us. But denazification is one of point of his propaganda after Maidan peaceful protest movement. If you know, 8 years ago, 2014, Ukrainian people destroyed Yanukovych regime. It's Yanukovych, it's a former Ukrainian president, it's a criminal person who was friend of Putin. KGB, who studied Soviet history, KGB and criminal, it's already together. And it was peaceful protest movement against Yanukovych, and people won't go to European Union. Yanukovych planned Ukraine back to under Putin control. And it really was, I very good remember this time. It was November 2013, January, February 2014. You can imagine in Kyiv was 500,000 people outside on the street. A lot people. For example, my family, we visit Maidan to every day. We support people, food, medicaments. We stay against Yanukovych policemen. We fighting for freedom. Every time we fight for freedom. My colleague, Dr. Robert Kowalik from Maidan, a Polish historian, unfortunately he died. Maybe Francois knows him. He wrote a book about Belzhev's death camp. Robert Kowalik told me in December 2013, he told Anatoly, you understand, you not fight for independence. After 1991, after destroyed Soviet Union, collapsed Soviet Union, Ukraine just received, please, independence. But you are not fight for independence. And now it's time for fight for human values, dignity, human rights, freedom. And he was right 100%. Already 8 years we fight, but now it's terrible. But what Putin propaganda told, he was really angry to Ukraine. He was absolutely agreement with Yanukovych. Step by step, Ukraine come back under control, under Russia control. It's a typical, our neighbor country, but I'm not sure that it's a country or not country, Belarus. In my opinion, it's not independent country. Mr. Lukashenko is just represent Putin in Belarus. And Ukraine totally different. It's important. And of course, and Putin regime announcement, Maidan peaceful protest movement, 2014, it was nationalist. It was Bandera. It's a right radical wing. Maidan peaceful protest movement, million people, different people, left, right, people who nothing connect this political party, political issue. People won't be free. Of course, right movement exists in Ukraine. Sorry, if I correct, no, this movement exists in France, in Germany, in Italy, in Hungary. Madame Le Pen, it's in Ukraine. Impossible even imagine similar with Le Pen. Right movement absolutely not influence to Ukrainian culture, society, and politics. An example, 2014, after Maidan was president election, if you know. It was 8 years ago, Mr. Poroshenko won, and during president election was some people from right wing, from right radical party or something, and they received during election less 0.5%. Ukrainian society don't interest. Ukrainian society is a multicultural society. It's a different society. Ukrainian citizens, it's Ukrainians, Russian, Jews, Polish, Moldovanian, Belarusians, a lot of people. During Maidan, I'm member of Jewish community in Kyiv. Jews defending freedom in Maidan. Jewish now defend Ukraine against Russia. And of course exist, right? But they not play important role. The president election, and during Poroshenko time was Prime Minister of Ukraine, Groisman, Jewish origin. The story, maybe you know, in 2019 was current president of my country, Mr. Zelensky. He Jewish. It's not so correct. Nazi right radical and Jewish original president. Of course, it's a propaganda. Of course, in Ukraine exists left and right. It's a not unique case of Ukraine. It's a typical for Europe. I am sure in modern Russia, stronger right extremism, absolutely strong, absolutely. According European monitoring in Ukraine, after Maidan, peaceful protest movement, less numbers of anti-Semitic or extremist cases, absolutely. But it's not important for Mr. Putin, absolutely, it's propaganda. What is it? His propaganda? Ukrainian Nazis, all Ukraine, people who speak Ukrainian already right radical. already Nazi. And and of course he angry to Ukraine, Mr. Putin. Putin, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't like mark his name. For me, it's a Hitler, Stalin. It is same. Absolutely, absolutely. He enemy of human being. But I need to repeat his name. But what do? And what I want to tell, of course, for his propaganda in Ukraine, Nazi, it's a not correct Jewish prime minister, Jewish ethnic origin, president, Jewish ethnic origin. It's for his ideological, it's destroyed his ideology. But one more important thing, what Russian propaganda told last year, special before attack to Ukraine. What is it one of main point of Russian propaganda against Ukraine? It's a Russian speaking people. In Ukraine, danger, Putin told every time and his people told every time from morning till evening, in Ukraine, Russian speaking people, press. Russian speaking people afraid speak Russian. Russian ethnics, Ukrainian citizens, Russian speaking people, it's a very danger in Ukraine. Every minute, very dangerous. So lie. What Mr. Putin did 24 February, he destroyed his propaganda. People who died under Russian bombs in Kharkiv, in Sumy, in Mykolaiv, in Chernihiv, in Mariupol. You can imagine what is the general population, Mariupol, Kharkiv, Chernihiv. 80% of this population Russian-speaking people, Ukrainian citizens. And Putin kill every day Russian-speaking people. Every day, last month. And Russians, Ukrainian citizens. And what today European intellectuals and Ukrainian intellectuals last week start speaking about denazification of modern Russia. Russia needs denazification, not Ukraine. Russia needs demilitarization. Russia danger for world, for France, for Ukraine, for Europe. I'm sure. Russia today, and one of my colleagues, Vitaly Portnikov, very famous Ukrainian journalist and analytic, politologist. Vitaly Portnikov told it's Russians killed civilians around here. Russians killed hundreds of people, women and children. It's not nationalistic people. It's not soldiers. It's not people with weapons. I know a lot. I know some people, concrete families. They spoke Russian and Ukrainian both. They ethnic Russians and ethnic Ukrainians. They live around Kiev. During some weeks, Russian soldiers kill children and women. Who Nazi? I'm sure it's Russia. Absolutely. And Mr. Portnikov told it's not only blame to political regime, Putin regime. They exist responsibility Russian society. It's the same if we discuss about German society during Third Reich, during Hitler time. German society responsibility. And today, Russian society, the last 20 years, they tolerate, they choose Putin, they afraid Putin, they love Putin, and today a lot of Russians support war against Ukraine. Really a lot, really. It's a today challenge, yes. Okay, sorry, but it's my conclusion in your question. Your questions about very easy.
That's okay.
My country, it's a normal democratic country. After last 30 years, from 91, we elected 6 presidents. In Belarus was only Lukashenko. In Russia, last 23 years, only Putin. We elected every 5 years another president. I am very critical. I learn, I study, I teach to my students. We must be always criticized to government. It's a values from European values, from égalité, liberté, fraternité. We need to be criticized. When in Ukraine, Ukrainian people don't afraid government at all. We always criticize people, prime minister, president, don't import. Russian people afraid. They still in Soviet. We don't want to come back to Soviet. Absolutely. It's a different. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, Eva, your question?
Yes, I want to ask you a question which might be not very relevant, but still listening to you, it came to my mind, why just in February 2022? What is your feeling about the time of this invasion? What happened to allow that kind of aggression now?
Thank you. I not heard all. Maybe it's your questions about my feeling.
Yes.
But why did it happen in now? Just in last month?
Now.
Why not
Now.
1 year before or
Or a year after, anytime.
Okay. Okay. Sorry for connect. Maybe not.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Thank you for your question. First of all, it's now. If we discuss about today, yesterday, yes, situation better, absolutely better. Already around Kyiv, Ukrainian army and Ukrainian people stop Russians, and Russians left around Kyiv. Mr. Putin, again, sorry. I know better war criminal Putin, absolutely. He planned occupied Kyiv in first few days. He planned victory, how do you say, pride victory, organizing Kyiv. But it's his mistake. Kyiv, strong defense. In Kyiv, general 4 million people. Half of these people evacuated. But more 2 million people at least, 2 million people at least remain in Kyiv during front line, during this time. And now situation in Kyiv better, really better. And general west part of Ukraine, more better, central Ukraine, more less. And, but still danger in Kharkiv, still danger in Mariupol, Kherson. Now I come back to you, my feeling. Yeah, I come back. Okay. But I tell general picture and I come back to my feeling. I remember. And general, my thing now, maybe you know, Francois exactly know very good. What for Russia, 9 of May, 8-9, victory of World War II, yeah. But in Russia exists Soviet language, still Soviet language. According to Soviet language, not exist World War II. According to Soviet language, Great Patriotic War. And the Soviet army won fascist, not Nazi Hitler. But some correction now, you can imagine. First of all, inside Red Army, Soviet Army, during World War II, there are millions of Ukrainians, at least 5-6 million people from Ukraine. But Putin told 10 years ago, Not important Ukraine, important Russia. You know, we discuss about where is nationalism, where is right radical in Russia. My answer in Russia. And what happened now? What happened now? And maybe you know, very important American scholar, very good scholar, Anne Applebaum. Anne Applebaum wrote about Gulag, about Stalin crimes, wrote research, nice. And she wrote about Golodomor, great famine in Ukraine during Stalin time. And she wrote absolutely correct last year in her Facebook. She wrote, I very good remember that Soviet Union was one winner of World War II. But I very good remember that Soviet Union, together with Hitler Germany, start World War II. It's, you know, and one. And second, it's a Soviet army. It's not only Russian. It's a lot people, a lot Ukrainians, a lot Jews, Azerbaijans, Kazakh, I don't know. A lot people. But modern Russia, privatization of Victory Day. But what, in my opinion, after Russians killed people in Ukraine, in Ukrainian cities, modern Russia lost her right as a Victory Day. Today, modern Russia, aggression country. Today, modern Russia as a Hitler Germany 8 years ago. And what will be 9 May in Moscow? I don't know. I'm not interested. Interest my country, we will win. In Kyiv will be victory for Russian aggression. I hope. I'm sure. And change. And Mr. Putin destroyed the myth, his myth, you know. But it's sorry for emotional, but I worry. But come back to your last. Sorry, last. Let me finish. My feeling. I worry every day. I worry about my wife. I worry about my son. You know, my son and his wife 10 kilometers from me. And the first and after Russian invasion till middle March, I cannot visit to my son. My son took family from Konotop. My son and his wife is a volunteer, help soldiers, help civilians. They took in his apartment family from Konotop. Konotop is a Sumy region. It's a territory bombed under Russian bombs. And I worry about my colleagues. Now, you know, a lot my concrete people in small children, they live in Poland, in Romania, in Czech, in Germany. And I try help to my people outside Ukraine. I try help people under Russian bomb. You know, my life changed, not only my life of my people, life of my generation, younger generation, change, really change. You know what we have now, what I feel now? I feel now two feeling. I don't know. Sorry for my English. Sorry. I have two feeling. I have first, I'm really hate modern Russia. I stop, you know, I have, you can imagine, I have a lot colleagues in Moscow, in Petersburg. I stopped discuss with them 8 years ago. 8 years ago, 2014. One of my colleagues, very famous scholar in Moscow, who researched Holocaust and etc., he suggests me, please, Anatoly, send contacts of teachers history from Crimea Peninsula. You know, Crimea was annexed Russia in 2014, Crimea Peninsula. He told me, please, last years you worked very well, you brilliant work with Crimea teachers. Please send me them contacts for you. You already don't need them. We in Moscow, we continue cooperate with Crimea teachers who finish your seminar. It's not important. Well, you know, it's impossible. The Russian liberals' responsibility for Putin is absolute. I'm stop contact with people, but now, if discuss about my two feelings, first it's a hate to Russia, not to Putin. I'm hate Russia today. It's, you know, Jewish people and people and Soviet people hate Germany 8 years ago. Now I'm hate Russia. And second, my feeling, I believe to my people. I believe to my army. I believe to my relatives. I believe to Ukrainian nation. It's a, you know, I am Ukrainian historian, Ukrainian citizen. I am Jewish. I am Jewish ethnic origin. My father Jewish, but they already died. My father was 100 years ago. He was born more. My father, he was born 1921. My mother 1924. My father survived. My father was a soldier in Soviet army. You know, my grandmother and my aunts from father's side, Nazi, killed in Babin Yar in Kiev. It's my story, you know. And you know what did Russian troops in March? 3 weeks ago, Russian bombs destroyed part of Holocaust memorial in Babin Yar. Russian bombs destroyed Holocaust memorial in Kharkiv, Drobytsky Yar. What Putin did? Putin continued. Hitler killed Jews in Ukraine. Stalin killed memory about Jews in Ukraine. And Putin continued Hitler and Stalin politics against Jewish people in Ukraine. I hate Russia. I believe to Ukrainian nation. I'm part of Ukrainian culture. I am Jewish Ukrainian. It's my identity. It's my identity from all time. Sorry, it's what I want to talk. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Questions? Some more questions? Actually, the question was, what do you
Lui en russe, en ukrainien.
how do you think why Putin began the war this year and not last year and not 2 years ago, and why 8 years ago it just stopped in Donbass and then didn't go further? What happened in 2022 for the war to begin something so important for him? Do you have an opinion about that?
Understand? Okay. No, it's a good question for Mr. Putin. It's a question for him. But what I'd say, you know, you collect troops. Last 6 months, he prepared everything, and it's, I don't know. But what he planned another. His plan, maybe his plan changed. He really angry for Maidan peaceful protest movement. He don't like Poroshenko. He don't like Zelensky. He like Lukashenko. Lukashenko under Putin control, absolutely clear. And I don't know, he planned, maybe he have another plans, but Ukraine step by step go to European democratic values, not to Russia. And his preparation, it's his You know, people, it's a question for not only for Ukraine, it's a question for European countries, European Union, US, Great Britain. We need, you know what we discussed inside Ukraine about, of course, thanks to help, humanitarian help, your country including, to Ukrainian refugees, food, humanitarian. It's a really need for us, medicaments, yeah. But first of all, you know, first days of war, people outside, Polish colleagues, German colleagues, Britain colleagues, Memorial Shoah in Paris, ask me, Anatoly, what we can help you, please tell. My answer was, please, we need weapon. We need weapon every day. We need weapon and weapon against Russia. We need airplane military. We need military help. And of course, what discussing people, my colleagues, we discussed via online about behavior, Europeans' behavior. You know, it's again, every time compared to World War II, interwar period. For example, please, maybe Putin occupied Ukraine, and it's Putin every time danger, Russia. You know, it's a typical Soviet. Every time must be outside enemy. Russian society love Putin. Putin every time speak, oh, we are a great country, we are great, but outside external enemies, Nazis, NATO, Europe, right radicals in Ukraine, everybody want invite to Russia. It's his propaganda, typical Stalin propaganda, you know? It's every time, he need every time external enemy. And, but, you know, mistake of Mr. Chamberlain in 1938, Chamberlain gave to Hitler, as you know, Czechoslovakia, Sudet, you know, and okay. And Chamberlain come back to London. People, please, I give you peace, but you know what will continue. After Austria, Czech was start, occupied Poland, and World War II start. And same now, Polish and Lithuania really afraid. Polish society, Polish historical memory, Baltic country historical memory. For them, Putin, it's a typical Stalin, want occupied Polish and Lithuanian Baltic countries. And in this case, we need stop Putin regime. We need military help, really military help. And the last events, it's a massive, you know, Bucha, you already know this geographic toponym, Bucha. I very love Bucha. In Bucha live a lot my colleagues. It's you know, around 20 kilometers from Kiev. It's a private houses. It's, you know, how do you say, sleep district house, district for sleep, for rest, without nationalists. People, different people. And, you know, already identify more 400 bodies, women bodies, old people bodies, children bodies. Russian soldiers told they arrived to Ukraine, kill Ukrainian fascists. Ukrainian fascists in Bucha, children's, women's, young generation, different generation, people who live, and it's a fascist. For Russia, we are fascists. It's terrible, it's horrible. But my question, I don't know, it's a question. He hate Ukraine from his childhood, I don't know. From his, he student of Mr. Andropov. Mr. Andropov was a KGB leader in 1960s, 70s. It was big mistake, Russia. They elected president, this KGB person. It's a terrible, not only for Russia, it's a horrible for us, for both. And maybe, anyway, he want his plan separate Ukraine. So one of his plan was West Ukraine, separate, occupied East, South Ukraine. You know, again, I cannot imagine. Every time in my head, every time compare this Nazi regime. You know, it was one of Hitler person, Erich Koch. Erich Koch was Gauleiter of Ukrainian Reichskommissariat Ukraine during 1941-44 under Germany, under Nazi occupation Ukrainian territory. Erich Koch told, we will, first of all, we exterminate Jews, and after Jews, Ukrainians, and we will do next generation. Erich Koch told in 1941, German SS, Hitler friend, Erich Koch, we in next generation will don't know toponym Ukraine, don't know Ukrainians as ethnic groups. Next generation, no, and Putin today already don't want separate Ukrainian territory. I feel he won't destroy total us. I don't know. But we need really, we have not enough choice. I tell last sentence, sorry. I am Jewish Ukrainian, yes. Renovate my memory, created Ukrainian Center Holocaust Studies, my research, my teaching, my life, everything connects with Ukrainian independence. During Soviet time was very difficult for me. For my young generation, my young time, my father afraid speak about grandma, afraid spoke about Babin Yar. Inside Ukrainian families and Jewish families, people afraid speak truth to them children. It's a people afraid every time. People afraid Siberia, Gulag, concentration camp, people afraid KGB. I remember with fear. I remember inside my family with fear. My mother asked me, please don't speak Yiddish. Don't learn Yiddish. You know, Yiddish, it's a Jewish language. My mother and my father, before World War II, finished Jewish school. They afraid read in Yiddish. They afraid speak inside family in Yiddish. They stop transfer cultural tradition from one generation to another generation. It's a terrible. I remember. I was in Soviet Army, 1986, 1988, 35 years ago, 36 years ago. I remember my thought. I think I'm not survived Soviet Army. I thank God that I survived Soviet Army. It's a terrible time in my life. It's a really terrible time. I remember everything that connect, everything after collapse Soviet Union, my career, my family, my job, everything connects with Ukraine, independent Ukraine. I will fight. I fight now. I will fight for Ukraine. I'm particular. I have not a knowledge, absolutely. I know exactly. I not come back to Soviet. Russia, it's a terrible, even terrible, modern Russia, even terrible of Soviet. And not only regime, people. A big difference, this is war, this is last month, I saw big difference, real mental difference between Ukrainians and Russians. What I speak in Ukrainians, it's a different people. it's not only ethnic Ukrainians, you know, it's the people who live in Ukraine, Ukrainian citizens, different ethnic originals, but between us and Russians, it's a space, it's a cosmos. Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So maybe your time. So maybe one or two more questions, and then we will.
Maybe last question. I need go to my lovely dog. Now will be already 30 minutes. We'll close and forbidden outside to house. Please, one last.
Maybe one last question. If no, we will free you. No more questions? No? No? So, okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. It was very interesting.
Thank you.
To hear your point of view and the way you're experiencing all this. And we're just take care of yourself.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you. For me, it was really nice and big honor. I hope you will stay safe and you will support my country in this terrible time. I hope friends for Ukraine. I know I saw a lot demonstration for support Ukraine. I will honest for my people important outside support, outside help. We need feel that Europe world support us, support our fight for life, for freedom. Yeah. Okay, bye.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Well,
Thank you.
Bon, ben on voit le professeur Gradbol, mais
Lui, il a pas.
Oui, moi j'ai moins de problème pour promener le chien.
Il n'est pas venu, mais on...
tu as dit quoi?
il avait pas content.
J'ai moins de problème pour promener mon chien, il y a moins de bombes ici.
Non, ça, ouais, on a tous moins de problèmes.
Voilà.
Bon.
Merci. Merci beaucoup. Hein, c'est un peu
triste.
Ouais.
c'est carrément horrible. Hein. Mais je ne sais pas si vous avez noté, moi je ne voulais pas intervenir, mais ce qu'il racontait sur les collègues qu'il formait, parce qu'ils ont une action de formation depuis des années pour les enseignants du secondaire.
C'est le cœur de leur travail.
Qui est vraiment, oui, leur travail, et c'est ce qui se fait aussi en France très souvent avec la PAG, la Fondation pour la mémoire de la Shoah, etc., ou le mémorial de la Shoah. Et là, le collègue russe qui lui dit, bon, bah, maintenant, tu me donnes le nom des gens en Crimée, comme ça, nous, on va les former, ça va être super.
C'est glaçant.
On va dire ça charitablement. On va dire que c'est agaçant, c'est au bas mot, mais...
Glaçant.
C'est glaçant, oui. C'est glaçant.
Glaçant.
Ouais.
C'était en 2014, hein, c'était pas maintenant.
Ben oui, bien sûr.
Non, mais c'est glaçant et en même temps, c'est... Ouais.
De toute façon, il était absolument submergé par l'émotion, l'affect, ce qui est totalement compréhensible. Donc, et puis par le besoin de dire où il est, ce qu'il attend. Donc, c'est sûr qu'il n'est pas dans l'analyse actuellement de la situation. C'est tout à fait logique.
Non.
C'est pas non plus ce qu'on a attendu.
Non,
en même temps, il a dit des choses qui aident à l'analyse, qui sont hyper intéressantes, notamment sur la part de la mémoire historique dans la perception des événements, qu'on peut avoir tous tendance à négliger, y compris pour les Polonais, les pays baltes, ou pour les Ukrainiens. Une mémoire historique qui s'est construite depuis 20 ans ou 30 ans et qui là joue à fond.
Oui.
Et les héritages soviétiques sont fascinants, même chez lui, parce que lui, il peut avoir ce discours, il tient des discours sur des comparaisons avec le nazisme, que l'équivalent de lui en France hésiterait des millions de fois en disant attention. Et c'est vrai que je pense que ça est favorisé aussi parce qu'il a un background soviétique qui met moins de tabou derrière ces comparaisons.
Oui, mais là, enfin, je trouve qu'un des points forts de l'échange, ça a été de confirmer ce que tu disais, François-Xavier, à savoir que on voit la rupture qui s'est creusée de façon incroyablement radicale entre les gens qui vivent cette guerre en Ukraine et je pense l'essentiel des Russes qui ne comprennent même pas à quel point ça ne va plus être possible pour beaucoup de gens qui étaient russophones de parler russe. Mais pas parce qu'on les aura forcés à changer de langue, mais juste parce qu'ils auront honte. Hein. Parce que c'est une tragédie à tout niveau, mais elle aussi. C'est-à-dire que le soi-disant propos sur nous allons sauver la Russie en Ukraine se transforme en on a détruit le lien avec l'Ukraine. Et c'est abyssal comme situation. Enfin, il comparait ça avec les juifs allemands qui au départ disaient Hitler était méchant et qui après 1945 ont dit on ne veut plus parler allemand. Alors la tradition juive allemande, ce n'était pas rien. Hein.
Lui, il est russophone.
Oui.
Il est russophone.
Il est russophone.
Je lui ai proposé soit de le faire en russe et que je traduisais, soit de le faire en anglais. Il a tout de suite fait en anglais. Il a parlé au mémorial de la Shoah. Il y a eu un petit truc au début de la guerre, je crois. Oui. Il est intervenu en ukrainien.
Oui. Et
les gens de sa génération.
Oui, puis on peut peut-être dire, toi tu le connais depuis un certain temps, qu'on n'a pas affaire à un excité politique majeur. Hein. C'est vraiment pas quelqu'un qui, même il y a quelques années, même après 2014, aurait tenu les propos qu'il tient aujourd'hui. Il y a une...
2014, pour lui, a marqué déjà une rupture.
Ah oui, mais ça...
Enfin, il y a d'autres dans la société ukrainienne qui étaient moins, je pense... Lui, ça a été un truc, une sorte de point de non-retour. Mais bon, là, on voit bien qu'il s'est, je ne sais pas si on peut dire radicalisé, mais il s'est, voilà. Les discours, enfin, le rapport à la Russie est complètement détruit.
Et ça la confronte, enfin, je ne sais pas si les autres fois il revenait autant sur son identité juive. Il est beaucoup revenu là-dessus.
Non, mais ce qui est fascinant, c'est qu'il associe, moi j'ai trouvé ça passionnant, il associe son identité juive, enfin, la libre expression de son identité juive à l'Ukraine indépendante.
Absolument.
Donc c'est ni la Russie ni l'Union soviétique, et tout ce qui lui permet d'être juif, c'est d'être ukrainien. Et c'est tellement contraire à tout ce qu'on peut entendre à plein d'endroits, qui est quand même. C'est aussi pour ça que c'est intéressant d'entendre.
Tout ce qu'on a pu entendre pendant beaucoup d'années, en particulier sur la participation des Ukrainiens au nazisme, aux actions nazies.
De fait, après, il y avait des Ukrainiens qui ont été des salopards pendant la guerre.
C'est compliqué à lier.
Bon, écoutez, sur ces charmantes perspectives.
Alors, je vais vous quitter, mais merci beaucoup de m'avoir signalé cette intervention et d'avoir donné la possibilité aux étudiants qui suivent mes séminaires, et j'en vois au moins un là, et je sais, j'en vois une à distance au moins, de participer parce que je pense que c'est des moments historiques extrêmement importants et rien ne peut remplacer la rencontre, une rencontre de ce type. On peut faire ce qu'on veut en cours. C'est une rencontre avec quelqu'un qui explique ce qu'il vit dans une situation de guerre. C'est d'ailleurs une situation très originale parce qu'il y a seulement très peu de temps qu'on peut avoir un témoignage en direct avec une image et une voix.
Ah oui, avec le stress qui est derrière.
Ben oui. Et donc, enfin, vraiment, je te remercie parce que c'est un privilège que de partager ces instants. Voilà.
Je voudrais rajouter un mot. C'est vrai qu'on nous on l'a vu il y a 4 ans à Kiev. Alors, à ce moment-là, l'Ukraine était en guerre sur sa frontière Est. Mais quand on était à Kiev, on envoyait des signes parce qu'on les cherchait, mais c'est vrai que quand on l'a rencontré, on ne sentait pas ça. Quand on se baladait dans Kiev, on ne sentait pas ça. Il y avait quelques affiches de recrutement pour l'armée, de temps en temps quelques slogans de soutien à ceux qui étaient au niveau du Donbass, mais ça ne se sentait pas du tout. Et là, on voit la différence, mais c'est plus qu'une différence, enfin, le bouleversement, la rupture complète entre savoir que la guerre est... On est en guerre, mais ça reste assez loin, et puis la voir sur le pas de la porte, quoi. Et je trouve que... Je me souviens quand on était allé dans l'Institut, et là qu'on l'entend, enfin, c'est deux mondes. Là, il y a eu l'expérience de la guerre réelle, pas simplement... Enfin, simplement... Pas comme on pouvait le voir il y a 4 ans, quoi. Moi, ça m'a frappé. Je ne sais pas si vous avez senti ça aussi, mais Kiev, en plus, on y était, c'était justement de l'euro, quoi, ou juste avant, juste après, il y avait encore les logos de l'euro, quoi. C'était une ville où on se baladait, on allait au bar le soir, enfin bon, cette rupture est quand même gigantesque. On le sait théoriquement, mais là, on le touche, on le voit.
Bon, allez. Salut,
Merci encore. Au revoir.
Merci pour Xavier d'avoir organisé ça. Comme il dit, c'est un privilège.